I guess I should probably explain how this whole thing started because everyone's acting like I'm some kind of monster or whatever, which is ridiculous, by the way. But anyway, Michael and I had been together for 5 years, married for 4, and we have Hannah, who's 4 now. I chose to be a stay-at-home mom, which was my decision, you know? I wanted to be there for Hannah and not have to deal with daycare drama and all that stuff. Michael worked at this accounting firm downtown, one of those boring office jobs where he had to wear ties every day. The cheap polyester kind that always looked wrinkled no matter what. Our apartment was okay, I guess. 2 bedrooms, beige carpet that showed every stain, kitchen with those white cabinets that were probably installed in 1995. The living room had this sectional couch we got from his sister Avery when she moved, brown microfiber that was comfortable but had this weird smell when it got humid. Hannah's toys were always scattered everywhere, those plastic primary colors that hurt your eyes under the fluorescent ceiling light. Michael did a lot around the house, which was fine. He'd come home from work still smelling like that gross office coffee and immediately start cleaning something. Loading the dishwasher, folding laundry, picking up Hannah's Cheerios from under her high chair. Sometimes I'd watch him scrubbing plates with this yellow sponge that made this annoying squeaking sound against the ceramic. Like nails on a chalkboard. I appreciated it, whatever. But he had this way of doing everything like it was some kind of performance, like he wanted credit for being helpful or something. And he'd get this look on his face when I was on my phone while he was cleaning, this little eyebrow thing he did. His left eyebrow, never the right one. Super annoying. The first real problem started when my friends Amber and Morgan needed a place to stay. They were going through this whole roommate situation, drama with their lease, typical stuff. So I told them they could crash on our couch for a few days. No big deal, right? Well, those few days turned into 5 weeks. And okay, maybe I should have talked to Michael about it first, but they're my friends. Amber had all her makeup stuff spread across our bathroom counter. Those little compacts and brushes everywhere. And Morgan kept leaving her clothes draped over the dining room chairs. Our apartment started smelling like Amber's vanilla body spray mixed with that cheap wine they bought from the grocery store. Michael kept doing that thing where he'd step over their sleeping bags in the morning, his jaw all tight, but he never actually said anything direct. Just these little passive-aggressive comments like, "Wow, sure is crowded in here," or, "I guess we're out of coffee again." So dramatic. When they finally moved out, I thought everything would go back to normal. But then, 6 months later, Michael's sister Avery needed a place to stay because her landlord was selling her building or something. And Michael just assumed she could stay with us. I was in the kitchen making Hannah's breakfast when he brought it up. Hannah was in her high chair with Cheerios scattered on the tray, some of them stuck to her pajama top with dried milk. The coffee maker was doing that gurgling thing it does when the filter's not quite right. "So Avery needs somewhere to stay for a week while she finds a new place," Michael said, not even looking at me. He was standing by the counter in his work clothes, that blue shirt with the tiny stain near the pocket that never came out in the wash. I just stared at him. "Are you kidding me right now?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, my friend stayed here for 5 weeks and you acted like it was the end of the world. Now your sister needs to stay and it's just automatically okay?" He did that eyebrow thing again. That was different. How was it different? Because Avery asked first, and it's only for a week, and she actually helps around the house instead of just... He stopped himself, but I knew what he was gonna say. "Instead of what, Michael?" Hannah started banging her spoon on her tray, with that plastic-on-plastic sound echoing in our small kitchen. The morning light coming through our window with the broken mini blind made everything look harsh and weird. "Look, I just think we should be able to have families stay when they need help," he said finally. And that's when I said it. "Do you want a divorce?" The coffee maker stopped gurgling. Hannah stopped banging her spoon. Michael's coffee mug, the one with the cracked handle that he refused to throw away, was frozen halfway to his mouth. "What?" "You heard me. Do you want a divorce? Because that's what it sounds like. You want your sister here so bad, maybe you should just marry her instead. I don't know why I said that, it just came out. But I was frustrated. You know, the double standard was so obvious. My friends stay for weeks and he's all weird about it, but his sister needs help, and suddenly, I'm supposed to be the perfect hostess. Michael put his mug down on the counter, and I could hear the ceramic click against the laminate. Lauren, that's not what this is about. Then what is it about? It's about the fact that you make these decisions without talking to me, and then when I need something, you threaten to end our marriage. Whatever. He was being so dramatic about the whole thing. I mean, threatening divorce wasn't that serious. It's just something you say when you're frustrated. Everyone knows that. But Michael got all quiet and weird, and Hannah was looking back and forth between us with those big eyes kids get when they know something's wrong but don't understand what. Fine, I said. She can stay for a week, but I'm not gonna pretend to be happy about it. So Avery stayed. And honestly, it wasn't terrible. She helped with dishes and actually organized Hannah's toy bin, which I'd been meaning to do for months. She was good with Hannah too, reading her books and doing puzzles. But there was something about the way she looked at me sometimes, like she was judging how I kept house or took care of my own daughter. Like one morning, I came out of the bedroom and Avery was already up, had coffee made, and was wiping down the kitchen counters. Hannah was at the table eating actual breakfast, not just cereal, and she'd already gotten her dressed for the day. "Oh," Avery said when she saw me in my pajamas. "I hope you don't mind." Hannah said she was hungry. I mean, what was I supposed to say? That I minded her feeding my daughter? But the way she said it, all polite and helpful, made me feel like she was showing off or something. After Avery left, things got weird between Michael and me. Not like big fight weird, but this underlying tension that would bubble up over stupid stuff. He started suggesting we try couples therapy, which was ridiculous. Like we didn't need therapy, we just needed to communicate better or whatever. The arguments started happening more often, like once or twice a month, usually over dumb stuff. Money, housework, his work schedule. He was working late a lot, sometimes not getting home until after Hannah was already asleep, and I felt like I was basically a single mom most days. "You're never here," I told him one night. He'd just walked in at 8:30, still smelling like that office building air conditioning and microwaved food from the break room. "I'm working to pay for this apartment and everything we need," he said, loosening that ugly tie. "I didn't ask you to work so much." "Well, someone has to." And there it was, that tone. Like I wasn't contributing anything by staying home with Hannah, like taking care of a 4-year-old wasn't a full-time job. "Do you want a divorce?" I asked. He stopped moving, his tie half undone. The TV was playing some commercial for car insurance, and Hannah's bedroom door was cracked open like always. "Lauren, you can't keep saying that every time we disagree about something." "I'm not. I'm asking a serious question. Do you want a divorce?" "No, I don't want a divorce. I want us to figure this out. Maybe we should try counseling." "I don't need counseling. You're the one who's never here." The same conversation happened like 15 times over the next year. Michael would suggest therapy, I'd say we didn't need it, he'd work late, I'd feel abandoned, we'd fight, I'd ask about divorce, he'd say no and suggest therapy again. Round and round. But here's the thing, every time I asked about divorce he'd back down. He'd apologize, or try to come home earlier for a few days, or be extra helpful around the house. So it worked. It got his attention and made him realize he was being neglectful. I wasn't actually gonna divorce him. I mean, where would I go? I didn't have a job, and Hannah needed stability. It was just a way to make him understand how serious I was about feeling ignored. But then everything changed. It was a Tuesday night, I remember, because Hannah had gymnastics that day and she was all wound up from class. Michael came home late again, 8:45, and I was already annoyed because I'd had to handle bedtime routine by myself. Again. "Sorry," he said, dropping his messenger bag by the door. That bag was falling apart, the strap fraying where it connected to the main part, but he refused to get a new one. "Hannah asked where you were like 5 times during dinner." "I know, I'm sorry. This project at work is..." "There's always a project at work, Michael." He walked to the kitchen and opened the fridge, staring into it like there might be different food than what was there this morning. The light from inside made his face look tired and older than 32. I'm doing my best here, Lauren. Are you? Because it feels like your best is choosing work over your family every single day. That's not fair, isn't it? When's the last time you were home for dinner? When's the last time you helped with bedtime? I feel like I'm raising Hannah by myself. He closed the fridge without taking anything out. The kitchen felt small with both of us in it, the beige walls seeming closer together than usual. I'm working to support us. You wanted to stay home with Hannah, remember? This is how we make that work. I didn't want to be abandoned. You're not abandoned. Then what do you call this? You leave at 7 in the morning, you come home when Hannah's already asleep, and on weekends you're doing chores or answering work emails. When exactly are we supposed to be a family? Michael leaned against the counter, and I could see that eyebrow thing starting, his left eyebrow twitching like it always did when he was getting frustrated. So what do you want me to do, Lauren? Quit my job? We have bills. We have rent. Hannah needs clothes and food, and I want you to prioritize your family. I am prioritizing my family. No, you're prioritizing your paycheck. The dishwasher was running, that low humming sound it made during the rinse cycle, and I could hear our upstairs neighbor walking around in those heavy boots he always wore. This is ridiculous, Michael said. We have this same fight every week. Because nothing changes. Things would change if you'd consider couples therapy. I don't need therapy, Michael. I need a husband who actually wants to be here. He was quiet for a long moment, just standing there in his wrinkled work shirt with that stupid stain. The kitchen light was flickering slightly, the way it always did when it was cold outside. Do you want a divorce? I asked. But this time, instead of backing down or apologizing or suggesting we talk about it, Michael looked right at me. His face was completely calm, which was weird because usually he got defensive. You know what, Lauren? I don't want this anymore. Wait. What? What do you mean? I mean, I'm tired of having the same fight over and over. I'm tired of you threatening divorce every time we disagree about something. I'm tired of feeling like nothing I do is ever enough. The car insurance commercial was still playing on the TV in the living room, some annoying jingle about saving 15%. Hannah's bedroom had gone quiet, which meant she was probably listening. Michael, I'll have my lawyer send you papers. And then he walked out of the kitchen. I just stood there for like 5 minutes, staring at the spot where he'd been standing. The dishwasher finished its cycle with that little beeping sound, and I could hear him in the bedroom, moving around. This wasn't supposed to happen. When I asked about divorce, he was supposed to realize he was being neglectful and promised to do better. He wasn't supposed to actually agree to it. I went to the bedroom and found him pulling clothes out of the dresser, throwing them into this old duffel bag we used for weekend trips. What are you doing? Unpacking. Michael, come on. We can talk about this. We've been talking about this for 1.5 years, Lauren. Every month, same conversation, same threats. You asked if I wanted a divorce? The answer is yes. I didn't mean it like that. He stopped packing and looked at me. Then why do you keep asking? I didn't know what to say to that, because I kept asking, because it usually worked, because it made him pay attention and try harder. But I couldn't say that. I was just frustrated. I know. And I'm frustrated too. I'm frustrated that I work 50 hours a week to support this family and come home to fights about not being here enough. I'm frustrated that you won't consider therapy, but you will consider divorce. I'm frustrated that our daughter has to listen to us fight all the time. He went back to packing, shoving socks and underwear into the bag without even folding them. Where are you gonna go? Avery's. What about Hannah? Hannah's coming with me. You can't take Hannah. Michael stopped packing again and turned around. Lauren, you just asked me for a divorce. Did you think I was gonna leave my daughter in a home where her parents are getting divorced and fighting constantly? We're not fighting constantly. We fight twice a month, every month. For 1.5 years, Hannah hears it every time. I wanted to argue, but he was kind of right. We did fight a lot. And Hannah's bedroom door was always cracked open, and our apartment was small, so she probably did hear everything. I don't want you to take her. Then maybe you shouldn't have asked for a divorce. The next morning, Michael called in sick to work and started packing more seriously. He had these cardboard boxes that he must have gotten from the office, and he was going through Hannah's room, packing her clothes and toys. Hannah didn't really understand what was happening. She kept asking if we were moving, and Michael told her they were going to stay with Aunt Avery for a while. "Is Mommy coming too?" she asked. "No, sweetheart. Mommy's gonna stay here." "Why?" Michael looked at me, and I didn't know what to say. How do you explain divorce to a 4-year-old? "Sometimes grown-ups need some time apart to figure things out," he said finally. Avery came over to help them move, which was awkward because she barely looked at me. Just focused on carrying boxes and talking to Hannah about how fun it would be to stay at her place. "She has that spare room with the twin bed," Avery told Hannah. "And we can set up all your toys in the living room." I watched them pack up Hannah's life into cardboard boxes, and it felt surreal, like this was happening to someone else. The apartment looked weird with Hannah's toys gone, these empty spaces on the carpet where her play kitchen and dress-up box used to be. When they were ready to leave, Hannah hugged me goodbye like it was just a normal day. She didn't understand that this wasn't temporary. "I'll see you soon, okay, baby?" I told her. "Okay, Mommy." Michael didn't say anything to me, just picked up the last box and walked out. The door closing behind them sounded so final, that click of the deadbolt. I sat on the couch in the quiet apartment and realized I'd actually done it. I'd pushed him too far, and now they were gone. The first few days were weird. I kept expecting to hear Hannah's voice or Michael's keys in the door. I'd make too much coffee in the morning and remember I was the only one drinking it. The apartment felt too big and too quiet, but also kind of peaceful. Like I could watch whatever I wanted on TV without having to consider anyone else. I could eat cereal for dinner if I felt like it. I could stay up late scrolling through my phone without Michael asking if I was coming to bed. After about a week, though, the quiet started feeling less peaceful and more lonely. I missed Hannah's chatter and the sound of her playing. I even missed Michael's annoying habit of loading the dishwasher immediately after every meal. So I started calling him. The first time it went straight to voicemail. "Hey, it's me. Can we talk?" The second time he answered but said he was busy getting Hannah settled and couldn't talk long. "How is she?" I asked. "She's fine. She likes Avery's place." "I miss her." "I know. I miss you too." Silence. "Michael, can we try to work this out? I think we both said things we didn't mean." "Lauren, you've asked me for a divorce probably 20 times in the last year. At some point, I have to take you seriously." But I didn't actually want a divorce. I was just frustrated. "I know. But I can't keep doing this. The threats, the fights, the same conversation over and over. It's not healthy for any of us." I called him like 15 times over the next few weeks. Sometimes he'd answer, sometimes he wouldn't. When he did answer, he was always polite but distant, like he was talking to an acquaintance instead of his wife. I started texting too. Not like crazy amounts, but just little things. "Hannah forgot her stuffed elephant. Do you want me to drop it off?" Or, "Saw her favorite cereal was on sale at Target." Sometimes he'd respond, usually just, "Thanks," or "She's okay without it." After about 2 months of this, I was going kind of crazy. The apartment felt like a museum of our old life. Hannah's drawings still on the refrigerator, Michael's coffee mug still in the cabinet. I hadn't moved anything because I kept thinking they'd come back. Finally, Michael agreed to meet me for coffee. Not at our usual place, but at this Starbucks downtown near his office. It was one of those corporate locations with uncomfortable chairs and music that was too loud. He looked tired when he walked in, and he'd gotten his hair cut shorter than usual. He was wearing a sweater I'd never seen before, dark blue with a small hole near the left elbow. "Thanks for meeting me," I said. He sat down across from me with his coffee, some complicated drink with extra shots. The foam was already dissolving, making these beige swirls on top. "How's Hannah?" "She's good. She started preschool at the place near Avery's house. She likes her teacher." It hurt that Hannah was starting school and I wasn't part of it, that there were parts of her life happening that I didn't know about. "I want to work this out, Michael." He stirred his coffee with one of those wooden sticks, not looking at me. "I don't know if we can." "Why not?" We love each other. We have Hannah. We can go to therapy like you always wanted. Lauren, it's not just about therapy. It's about the pattern. Every time we have a problem, you threaten to leave. I can't live like that anymore. I won't do it again. You've said that before. Had I? I couldn't remember promising not to threaten divorce before, but maybe I had. This time is different. How? Because I lost you. I lost Hannah. I know how serious this is now. The Starbucks was crowded with the afternoon rush, people in business clothes ordering complicated drinks and checking their phones. The air conditioning was too cold, and I wished I'd brought a sweater. Michael finally looked at me. If we try this again, things have to be different. Really different. Okay. I mean it, Lauren. No more threats. No more using divorce as a weapon when you're frustrated. If you're unhappy about something, we talk about it like adults. I can do that. And we do therapy. Real therapy. Not just going once and deciding it's stupid. Fine. And you have to understand that I'm working to support our family. I'll try to be home more, but I can't just stop caring about my career. I nodded, even though I still thought he worked too much. We tried. We really did. Michael and Hannah moved back in after we'd been to 3 therapy sessions. Dr. Martinez, this woman with graying hair and an office that smelled like vanilla candles, helped us practice having conversations without them turning into fights. When Lauren says she feels abandoned, Dr. Martinez would say, what she's really expressing is a need for connection and quality time. And when Michael talks about work pressure, she'd continue, he's trying to communicate his stress about providing for the family. It was helpful, I guess. We learned to use I statements and take breaks when conversations got too heated. Michael made an effort to be home for dinner more often, and I tried not to complain when he had to work late occasionally. I even got a job. Part-time at this boutique in the mall, just something to get me out of the house and contribute financially. The manager, this woman named Carol with fake nails and too much perfume, was kind of annoying, but the work was easy, and I liked getting to talk to adults during the day. I also started hanging out with some of the other moms from Hannah's gymnastics class. We'd get coffee after dropping the kids off, and it was nice to have friends who understood the whole stay-at-home mom thing. For like 6 months, everything was better. We were actually happy, I think. Michael would come home from work and ask about my day, and I'd tell him about the customers at the boutique or Hannah's latest preschool drama. We'd watch TV together after Hannah went to bed, his arm around me on that same microfiber couch. But then we had this argument about Hannah's birthday party. I'd been planning it for weeks. Hannah wanted a princess theme, so I'd ordered decorations and a castle cake from this bakery downtown. I'd invited like 15 kids from her preschool class plus family. The party was supposed to be on Saturday afternoon, but Friday night Michael told me his work was having this mandatory team building thing on Saturday. What do you mean mandatory? I mean everyone has to be there. It's at this ropes course place, and they're doing performance reviews based on participation. We were in the kitchen, and I was frosting cupcakes for Hannah's class party on Friday. The pink frosting kept getting lumpy no matter how much I stirred it. It's Hannah's birthday party, Michael. I know, and I'm really sorry. I tried to get out of it, but my boss said if I don't go, it'll affect my next review. So skip it. Lauren, I can't just skip a work event. You can't skip your daughter's birthday party. He leaned against the counter, and I could tell he was trying to use those therapy techniques we'd learned. Taking a deep breath, choosing his words carefully. What if we move the party to Sunday? I already sent invitations. I already ordered the cake. Hannah's been talking about her Saturday party for weeks. Then I'll try to leave the work thing early and meet you guys there. Try? I'll do my best. That phrase. I'll do my best. It was the same thing he always said when work came first. This is exactly what I was talking about in therapy, I said. You always choose work over family. That's not what this is. Isn't it? Your daughter's 4th birthday party, and you're choosing some stupid work event. It's not a choice, Lauren. It's my job. The frosting wasn't cooperating, and I was getting pink food coloring on my fingers, under my nails. Hannah was in the living room watching cartoons, and I could hear that annoying theme song from her favorite show. I knew marrying you was a mistake, I said. The words just came out. I didn't even think about them first. Michael went completely still. The kitchen was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and Hannah's TV show. What did you just say? I said I knew marrying you was a mistake. I should have divorced you years ago. It was like the air got sucked out of the room. Michael's face went blank, that same expression he'd had the night he agreed to divorce the first time. Lauren. What? It's true. You've never prioritized this family. Not once. I work 50 hours a week to support this family, and you use that as an excuse to miss everything important. Michael walked out of the kitchen without saying anything else. I heard him in the bedroom, and I knew what that meant. He was packing again. This time, he didn't take Hannah. He said he needed some space to think, and it would be better for her to stay in her own room with her own toys while we figured things out. The birthday party was awkward. Michael didn't show up, and I had to explain to his sister and parents that he was sick. Hannah kept asking where Daddy was, and I kept making up excuses. After that, we tried therapy again, but it was different. Dr. Martinez kept talking about patterns of behavior and fundamental compatibility issues. Michael was quieter during sessions, less willing to engage. I feel like we keep having the same problems, he said during one session. Relationships take work, Dr. Martinez replied. But both parties have to be committed to changing destructive patterns. I was committed. I really was. But some things about Michael weren't going to change. He was always going to prioritize work. He was always going to make me feel like I came second. After 2 months of therapy and Michael living at Avery's again, we decided to file for legal separation. Not divorce, just separation, to give us time to figure things out without the pressure of living together. The custody arrangement was 70-30 in Michael's favor, which I thought was unfair. But my lawyer said it was standard when one parent had been the primary caregiver during the separation. I got a smaller apartment across town, 1 bedroom with a pull-out couch for when Hannah stayed over. It was in this complex with a pool and a fitness center I never used. The walls were thin, and I could hear my neighbors fighting sometimes, which was ironic. The separation was supposed to last 6 months, and then we'd decide whether to reconcile or file for divorce. I thought maybe the space would be good for us. Maybe Michael would realize what he was missing. But living alone was harder than I expected. Not just the loneliness, but the practical stuff. I had to figure out how to change the air filter and unclog the bathroom sink. I had to manage my own budget and remember to pay bills on time. I started going out more, hanging out with coworkers from the boutique. There was this group that would go to happy hour on Fridays, and it felt good to be around people who didn't know about my drama. That's how I met Jordan. He was the bartender at this place called Murphy's, one of those fake Irish pubs with dark wood and neon beer signs. He was young, maybe 20, with messy brown hair and tattoos on his forearms. Not really my type, but he was flirty and fun, and it had been months since anyone had paid attention to me like that. At first, it was just harmless flirting. He'd make my drinks stronger than usual and comp my appetizers. He'd text me sometimes after his shifts, just casual stuff about how his day went. I wasn't planning for anything to happen. I mean, I was still married, technically. But the legal separation meant we weren't living together, and Michael had made it pretty clear he wasn't sure he wanted to work things out. So when Jordan invited me over to his place after the bar closed one night, I said yes. His apartment was exactly what you'd expect from a 20-year-old bartender. Futon instead of a real couch, video game consoles, empty pizza boxes on the counter. But he had this confidence that was attractive. Like he didn't care what anyone thought about his mismatched furniture or the fact that his shower curtain had a hole in it. We hooked up a few times over the next month. It wasn't serious, just something fun and easy that made me feel desirable again. Jordan didn't ask about my marriage or want to have deep conversations about feelings. He was just there when I needed to feel like someone wanted me. I was careful about it. Hannah never met him. And I only saw him when she was with Michael. I thought I was being discreet. But then, Michael came by my apartment unexpectedly to drop off some of Hannah's clothes she'd left at his place. It was a Saturday morning, and I'd had a late night with Jordan. He'd ended up staying over, which wasn't planned. I was in the shower when the doorbell rang, and Jordan answered it wearing just his boxers. I heard voices and realized what was happening, but by the time I got out of the shower and threw on a robe, the damage was done. Michael was standing in my doorway, holding a bag of Hannah's clothes, staring at this shirtless kid who was obviously not just a friend. Lauren? Jordan called. There's someone here for you? I appeared behind Jordan, my hair still wet, wearing this terry cloth robe that was too short and showed too much leg. Michael's face was completely expressionless, not angry, not hurt, just blank. I brought Hannah's clothes, he said, holding up the bag. Michael, I can explain. No need. He handed the bag to Jordan, who was looking back and forth between us like he was trying to figure out what was happening. This is Hannah's dad, I told Jordan. Oh, shit, sorry man, I didn't know. It's fine, Michael said. You're separated, right, Lauren? You can do whatever you want. But the way he said it didn't sound like he thought it was fine. After he left, Jordan got weird and awkward. He kept asking if I was sure I was separated, if my ex-husband was gonna cause problems. The whole thing made him nervous, which I guess I understood. We stopped hooking up after that. Not because of any big dramatic conversation, but because the easy, fun thing we had going got complicated when my real life intruded. A few weeks later, Michael's lawyer called my lawyer. He wanted to move forward with the divorce instead of waiting for the separation period to end. I wasn't surprised, but it still hurt. Like, I knew he'd seen Jordan at my place, and I knew that probably changed things for him. But part of me had hoped we'd still find a way back to each other. The divorce papers arrived on a Tuesday. I was at work, folding sweaters and helping customers find their size, when Carol told me I had a certified letter. I signed for it during my lunch break, sitting in my car in the mall parking lot. The papers were thick and official-looking, full of legal language about irreconcilable differences and asset division. It felt surreal, seeing our marriage reduced to bullet points about who gets what furniture and how often I'd get to see my own daughter. So that's how I ended up here. Divorced, living alone in a one-bedroom apartment, seeing Hannah every other weekend and Wednesday nights, working retail to pay my bills, and trying to figure out what my life looks like now. People act like this is all my fault, like I'm the one who ruined everything. But Michael was never really present in our marriage anyway. He chose work over family every single time, and when I tried to get his attention, he acted like I was being unreasonable. The divorce threats weren't serious. They were just a way to make him realize he was taking us for granted. How was I supposed to know he'd actually follow through? And the thing with Jordan that happened during our separation. We weren't even living together. I was lonely and hurt, and Michael had basically checked out of our marriage already. I mean, I'm not saying I handled everything perfectly. Maybe I could have communicated better or been more patient with his work schedule. But it takes two people to make a marriage work, and Michael gave up way before I did. Now Hannah asks why Daddy and I don't live together anymore, and I don't know how to explain it in a way that makes sense to a 4-year-old. How do you tell your daughter that sometimes grown-ups just can't figure out how to be happy together? Michael seems fine. He got a promotion at work, probably because he can stay late every night without anyone complaining. He moved into a bigger place with a yard where Hannah can play. Avery helps him with childcare. And apparently Hannah loves having her aunt around all the time. I'm the one who ended up alone. I'm the one who has to eat dinner by myself and watch TV shows no one else cares about. I'm the one who has to explain to new people I meet why I'm a divorced single mom at 29. But whatever. I guess this is just how things worked out. Maybe Michael and I were never really compatible anyway. Maybe we just stayed together because of Hannah, and because it was easier than admitting we'd made a mistake. At least now, I don't